But Brandon, let's close up the podcast doing what we always do. And you know what? I think this is the first week I can't say hello YouTube first because I think the Chip Kelly segment's going to come out before the picks video for once because we want that one to go out there. Hopefully he does not sign before we get it out there. But we're making our picks here on the podcast. You're on Blog Talk Radio. It is the end of the full podcast here on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, and Stitcher. We go through all the top 25 games this week, giving you our winners, giving you our losers, and letting you know why. And Brandon, we got a Thursday night matchup, a Thanksgiving matchup, SEC, the battle for Mississippi. We got Ole Miss, number 16 right now, number 16 Mississippi State. Rankings might change. We do this on Monday, so disclaimer. Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, 16.5-point favorites. Who do you got?
Ole Miss was in a really close game last week with Texas A&M. They lost it 31-24. Mississippi State, though, at home, they're getting the Thanksgiving win. They'll go to 9-3.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mississippi State as well. Ole Miss, this has just been one where I just do one of these and walk away. You knew you weren't going to do that great this season. However, the thing that could play into this one is you win this game, Ole Miss. Not only is it a rivalry game, but you win, you become bowl eligible with 6. So it might be a close one, but I'm going to go with Fitzgerald and the Bulldogs. Then we move on to some Friday action. Miami, they almost got upset against Virginia. They were down early. Miami going into Pittsburgh, they're 2-touchdown favorites. Do the Panthers have it in them to upset the turnover chain?
I don't think so. If Miami was playing Georgia Tech, then I'd say, okay, we're in for another really, really good game. And who knows? Maybe Pittsburgh will get up for this one. But Miami, they've just got too much firepower against them. They've had so many big wins now. 10 of them in a row, to be exact, to go be 10-0 because they're all big. But Miami, they just keep rolling this week. They go to 11-0.
We're going to see the turnover chain a lot, and I got to do it, Brandon.
You always do.
I got to throw up the U because the Hurricanes going to 11-0. They're going to be undefeated when they go and play Clemson. That is a lock-em. That game all set for the ACC title game. Clemson and Miami. Miami will be there 11-0. Then we got a Big 12 matchup. We've got 1-10 Baylor playing 9-2 TCU. TCU a 25.5-point favorite. All the Horned Frogs have to do, Brandon, is win this game, and they're playing Oklahoma for the Big 12 title game. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with TCU. I think that
Shocker.
Them being at home and playing Baylor, Baylor has been such a down team this year. It should be a very easy win for TCU.
Yeah, no disagreements there. TCU should win this game. Baylor, not that great of a season. We'll see if Coach Rule will get them going in his second year in 2018. Going to go with the Horned Frogs. Then wrapping up our Friday games, we've got a non-Power 5 matchup. We've got Charlie Strong's 9-1 South Florida Bulls going up against the UCF Golden Knights, the 10-0 Golden Knights. Central Florida only an 11-point favorite. Brandon, you know who I'm going with. I'm going with Scott Frost. I'm going with the team that averages 40-some, 50-some points per game. I'm going with UCF.
Yeah, I'm going to go with UCF as well here at home. Should be a good game. I would expect a good game out of two teams. Could be the best
game the Golden Knights see this season.
It very well should be the best game that they see this season. Both teams have been pretty competitive all year long. However, Mr. Frost may not be there at the end of the season.
Yeah, he may not. He may be in Florida. He may be with Alabama, not Alabama, with Nebraska. I don't know why I said Alabama.
Nick Saban
There's
leaving?
no way Nick Saban is leaving. It's because I was actually going to pull up really quick the American, and actually a fun fact. If South Florida wins this game, UCF would not play for the American title. It would be South Florida that would win the East, I believe, and have the tiebreaker. So a big matchup for both those two teams. Then we get into Saturday, and the first one I've got up because I'm logged into my personal profile, and they are my favorite team, so they're at the top. We've got number 23 right now, Northwestern, going into Champaign, Illinois to play my Fighting Illini. Northwestern, a 17-point favorite, 3-score favorite. Who do you got? The Wildcats Or the Illini.
They should be at least a 3-score favorite, and it's probably going to be like their the home team in this one. Illinois has been so bad all season long.
0-8 in the Big Ten.
Their fans have been so minimal.
Mm-hmm.
It's really been sad. Northwestern should get an easy win against the not so fighting Illini.
You know what bugs me to this day? It had to be about 2-3 years ago. It was a game we played Northwestern in Champaign, and I remember seeing the pictures to this day of, you know how Illinois, the Illini fans do the card thing where they throw up the eye and then they flip the cards?
Yes.
With how many students that were there because it was Thanksgiving and how bad the team was, it wasn't even a full eye.
Yeah.
It was like this little weak, like sad looking eye that like I was just sitting there going, you know what? I didn't even go to Illinois. And I felt disgraced. Like, how dare you? How dare you put that up? Why are you not supporting your team? But I get they're bad. I kind of want to hit the upset special button, but I'm not. I'm going to go with Northwestern. And a little bit of me just died inside because I just said Northwestern was going to win. That's going to take a little bit for me
It's going to hurt you.
Come back from. But while I do that, Brandon, you let me know who's going to win. Georgia Tech, Bulldogs 11-point favorites.
I'm going Georgia. I'm going with the Bulldogs. I think that they'll get back on track and really get things going against Georgia Tech. They'll get the win.
This is a game I almost wanted to hit the upset special button, but I'm not going to. I think the Bulldogs will win. However, I think it might be closer than an 11-point game. So I think that Georgia Tech, I might be taking them and the points plus 11. However, I think Georgia will get the win nonetheless. Then the matchup we thought, which would be much bigger at the beginning of the season, it's only big for Ohio State when it comes to playoff. Michigan is just playing for pride at this point as they've already racked up a bowl berth. But we've got the big matchup, the big rivalry, Ohio State and Michigan in Ann Arbor. Buckeyes, 12-point favorites. I'm going to go with Ohio State. How about you? Another game. Wanted to hit the upset special button, but I'm not going to go with the Buckeyes.
I'm also going to go with the Buckeyes from Ohio State. I think that they'll get the win. I think Michigan will get up and play well, but I still think that Ohio State will get the win.
Do we even have to pick the next one? Number 13, Oklahoma State, Kansas, Cowboys 40-point favorites. We're both picking the Cowboys, right?
This is what I think we should be picking for this one. Does Kansas or does Kansas not shake the hand of Mason Rudolph?
Oh, they'll shake it. They don't care about Mason Rudolph. It was only Baker Mayfield. Why? It was only Baker Mayfield. I guarantee you. You know what? I'll bet you $5 they do shake his hand. That's a bet I will make. Screw the line. I'm betting that they will shake Mason Rudolph's hand. That's what I think. Moving on to the next one, though, we've got Memphis. We've got East Carolina. Tigers, 28-point favorites. I'm going with the Tigres. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going Memphis as well against East Carolina, 3-8. Memphis all day.
And then the big one. We talked about it earlier. We've got Alabama. We've got Auburn. We got the Iron Bowl in Auburn, Alabama. The Tide only 4.5-point favorites. Brandon, I'll let you go first as the resident Alabama fan. Who do you got?
Well, in this one, it's going to be I think it's going to be a close game. I think we're going to see a game in the 30s. Both teams, Alabama's, I think, scoring in the 40s on average, and Auburn, I think, high into the 30s. I think we see a game into the 30s in this one. It's going to be a close one, but it's going to be the team who does not turn the football over or turns it over the least amount of times that's going to be able to get this win. I just see it being Alabama. I think that if Alabama has that running game and they're able to run on this defense, which other teams have been able to do, I think Alabama will get the win. However, Auburn, though, if they're able to get a running game going against Alabama giving up 87 yards on the ground on average, if Auburn's able to go well over that average, we will see a tight contest. But I've got to go with the Crimson Tide in this one. As I've said in the past this year, Alabama, 11-0. They haven't given me another reason why not to go with them.
Auburn's going to win. It's going to be, here's what's going to happen. Auburn wins at home. It's going to be 35-34. Reason why it's 35, let me see if my math is correct. It is. Reason why it's 35-34. Late in the game, under 2 minutes to go, Jarrett Stidham puts the Tigers up 35-28. Alabama marches down the field just as time expires, gets into the end zone. 35-34. Nick Saban, does he kick the extra point and go for overtime? Does he play for the win? Gambling Nick Saban goes for 2. They stuff the run game at the goal line, and Auburn walks away with the 1-point victory. That's how it's going to go down. Don't even have to watch the game. You just heard it from myself. Next one we've got, though, Big Ten. We've got Wisconsin, Minnesota. 17-point favorites are the Badgers. Who you got?
Wisconsin, they have a perfect, undefeated season, and they continue to make a reason and an argument for why they should be in the playoff.
I would love Minnesota to win. Like, absolutely love. They would be the one I root for, but let's be completely honest. I would love to hit that upset special button. I can't. Wisconsin's going to win this game, and then they will play Ohio State for a playoff berth, because if they win, they could be in. If they lose, they'd definitely be out against Ohio State. So we'll have to wait until next week to see if Wisconsin is officially in or officially out. Then a Big Ten team that is I don't want to say completely fell off the map, but I kind of do, because we're not talking about them anymore. I feel like the hype for Saquon Barkley as a Heisman has kind of fizzled down as Baker Mayfield has risen. Penn State 9-2, Maryland. Penn State 21.5-point favorites.
Got to go Penn State in this one, just because they've fallen off a little bit in terms of their talk about them and everything like that. They're still a really good football team that is going to probably put up a lot of points against Maryland.
Then the next one, I'm going to go with Penn State as well. Got to make that pick. Next one, ACC matchup, North Carolina State. The Wolfpack 16.5-point favorites. Wolfpack, though, have been on the decline of late, losing to Wake Forest. Any chance the Tar Heels pull off the upset?
I don't think so. This is an interesting game only because it's a rivalry, in-state rivalry and everything like that. But North Carolina has been so poor this season. NC State, yeah, they've fallen off a little bit, but they've been a strong team throughout the entirety of this season. I would go with NC State.
Yeah, I'm going to go with NC State as well. And then the first Mountain West game we have called in a while, since the Aztecs got bumped from the rankings earlier in the season. We got Boise State. First time I know that we've picked them this season, I believe. We've got Fresno State. The Broncos, only a 7-point favorite, Brandon. Who you got? You going BSU? You going FSU?
I'll go with Boise.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, you know what, just for fun, I'm going to go with the upset. I am going to go Fresno State because of Derek Carr. That's the only reason why I'm picking them. And then a Big 12 matchup, redundancy there with the word big. We've got West Virginia. We've got Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield not starting for this one, could play. Sooners are still 21.5-point favorites.
Yeah, still got to go with Oklahoma. West Virginia could give them a game. West Virginia gave Oklahoma State a game. Oklahoma State ended up pulling away in that one. Oklahoma is a very strong football team. They've shown it throughout this season, and I fully expect that Baker Mayfield will be out on the field for most of this game. Won't start, as you said, but I feel like
he'll be. Do you think one quarter? Because that's what when I saw Will play, I was thinking, oh, they'll just first quarter he's done.
Well, I was gonna
then play the last 3.
I was gonna say a couple possessions, maybe.
A couple possessions might be one quarter.
Meaning not starting. When you say will not start but will play, that could mean he literally is not the starter.
Yeah,
but he could come into play. I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen, but I don't know.
I think one quarter would be what they go with, just to say it was we looked into it seriously, and then they could still win with them in 3 quarters. However, I'm going to be ballsy. Will Grier not playing for the Mountaineers. He's injured as well. I believe he's done for the year. With Baker Mayfield out, I think the Mountaineers jump on the Sooners early, and I'm going to go with the upset here. Going with the little rolling the dice here. I know it's not the popular pick, but I'm going to go with the upset and the Mountaineers. They've burned me once before. Please do not burn me again. Then we go into the Big Ten. We've got the Spartans. We've got the Scarlet Knights. Spartans are 2-touchdown favorites. I'm going to go with them over Rutgers.
Oh, Michigan State all the way in this one. Rutgers has about 2 more wins than I thought they would.
Another big rivalry in the Carolinas, the South Carolina this time. we've got Clemson, we've got South Carolina, a 2-touchdown favorite for the Tigers. Fans are going to expect me to pick South Carolina, but I will not. Who are you going to pick?
I'm going to go upset.
I almost thought about
South
it.
Carolina will finally end this BS talk about Clemson being in the playoff because they shouldn't be. South Carolina with the win.
Oh, wow. I almost wanted to do it. I almost want to change my pick, but I won't. Then we've got SEC, the final SEC game we're picking for the week. We've got Texas A&M on the road at LSU. The LSU Tigers are 10.5-point favorites. Who you got?
I'll go LSU, but I feel like Texas A&M should win just so Kevin Sumlin can go 8-4.
That's another reason for me. 8-4, Texas A&M gets the upset because that's just what Texas A&M and Kevin Sumlin do. They go 8-4, and they'll go 5-3 in the SEC. Then our last two, we've got Stanford hosting the number 8 team in the country, Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish only 2.5-point favorites. Brandon, I'm going with the Cardinals to win in this one, ending the playoff talk for the Fighting Irish. Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with ND. I think that they're going to still get the win. It's, it will be a close game, but I think they get the win here. There is no playoff hope right now for Notre Dame, so that at the end of the season they can just have it was a good year, fellas. Notre Dame wins, though.
And fighting for second place on their side of the Pac-12, the North, we've got the Cougars from Washington State. We've got the Huskies from Washington. The Huskies are a 3-field goal favorite in this one. And Brandon, I'm going with the Cougs. How about you?
And Ricky, I'm doing the exact same. Washington State. Washington is going to get 3 losses on the season. And Washington, after last year, just fizzles away very quietly.
Well, and this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys have. What are the big games you're looking for, and who do you think are going to win these games down below in the comment section? I want to thank you guys for checking out the picks. If you're on YouTube, make sure to check out all our other segments this week. And if you're on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, and Stitcher, thank you guys for sticking around this is going to be a really long podcast. We had 2 segments almost go the distance for the 29 and a half. I think it's almost 30-minute limit we have on our DSLR camera. But I want to thank you guys for sticking around for the whole podcast. A little house cleaning. Screw that. Housekeeping. That's what I meant to say here at the end of the podcast. First off, patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. You want to help out the channel more so than watching, more so than liking and subscribing and sharing, go ahead, check out patreon.com, that link down below in the description. Then also, if you could, please go to iTunes, give us that 5-star rating that we oh so want. It would mean the world to us. The Primetime Podcast, the Onside Kick, the Fast Break, the Rick and Johnny Podcast. Go on iTunes, give us that 5-star rating. Want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Want to thank you for listening on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, or Stitcher. Thank you guys for everything, and we'll see you next time.